What's going on, YouTube? Remix Zero here, back with another video. As we come out of the winter months here in southern Chicago, or the Chicago metropolitan area, we're starting to get a little bit of some better weather, and with that comes more content. I haven't made that much content in the winter because it's just really hard to make to get outside with a camera and record in the cold. Is just not ideal, and it's not fun. But as the weather gets here, I'm starting to make the videos I've wanted to make for the past few months now. And with the Mustang out of the shop, I wanted to kind of touch upon why I bought this V6 Mustang, why I think you should buy a V6 Mustang, and when you should buy a V6 Mustang. So without further ado, let's hop into it.
Give me the green light like John Legend. I wrote in the sex, I'm a force to be reckoned with. Like Ralph, I'm wrecking shit. One day I'ma be on the jet with this. Where's Keisha, cause I'm heaven sent. I got power like a 50 cent. I'm more certified than a president. Man, I'm telling you, I'm big stepping, big flex. Goddamn, I'm feeling like Hercules. Niggas aren't saying I'm not from Earth. That nigga must be from Mercury. I'm the man with that plan. Next year, my vid's gon' be on demand. My shit stay crack, it's contraband. Only fans gon' understand, get a helping hand. I'm the main man, Batman, and you niggas Robins. Ayy, they like how is he winning the race at that pace when he's only jogging? Ayy, I used to flex in the Charger, now I'm making a cut like a barber. Ayy, my dreams get close, not farther. Ayy, trying to get me in.
Okay, so to start this video off, I feel like to get a general feel of the room is that the common when it comes to a V6 Mustang, everyone looks at it with like, oh, you should have got a V8, blah blah blah. Should have got a Shelby. V6 Mustangs or turbocharged Mustangs are just not ideal, blah blah blah, etc etc. And I think a lot of that is from the car community, but I'm looking at this from a different perspective. I'm not looking at this as a performance car, but I'm more so looking at this car as a daily driver. And I think once you start looking at this car under that lens, you can kind of start making some really good points as to why you would buy this vehicle. And I'm going to talk about that right now. So when it comes to the V6 Mustang, the Mustang packs around 300 horsepower and I believe 275 pound-feet of torque, which this is a 2016 model, but this engine has been around for so many years, right? And I think that in modern standards and as time progresses, this car is getting slower and slower and slower. Now in 2022, you can get a few cars that will easily beat this car from like a Kia or like Hyundai. You know, modern sedans are starting to keep up with this car, and this car is starting to become slower and slower. So I think when you start looking at this car as a daily driver, as a regular commuter, you know, that just has a little bit more style, a little bit more character, it's a good way to look at this car. Excuse the wind, by the way. So what does this car come with? Or what does this car bring to the table? It brings really great styling, and it brings a lot of modability from the car community, which is a huge selling point for me, that is. It still has healthy amounts of power, and it's still not super underwhelming like, let's say, a Nissan Altima, you know. So yeah, just a few points there. This car does keep up well in traffic, and for me, I actually owned a 2021 Nissan Altima, and I actually sold it in favor of this car. I wanted a car that could look cool, be modified. It's not super slow, like it doesn't lag in traffic, but it still has a little bit it leaves a little bit of power for some spirited driving. This car it looks great. It cleans up nicely, and you can still borrow a lot of the aesthetics from the higher trim models, which is another thing to think about. I just wanted to turn the camera around here to show you exactly all of the little bits that you can steal from the higher trim model Mustangs. So like I mentioned, this is a base model Mustang, and right off the bat I have the performance spoiler on here. I have a new deck lid and a new badge. I also have the Mustang GT or the Mustang EcoBoost Premium wheels on here, and I painted those black. I also have the Brembo calipers here. Well, not Brembos, I guess they're the 4 pistons that come off of the Mustang GT, and they fit right up with like no issue, right? And moving up front, because of the Mustang and its popularity, I got some color lights in here, and I have a new front grille as well. These are just a few modifications that can be done to the car because this car platform is shared with the higher trim level model. So this car does clean up very, very nicely. So as I mentioned before, I did own the Nissan Altima, and I want to touch upon who should be buying this car and what is this car's strong suits. For me, I own 2 vehicles, and my girlfriend has that Toyota Highlander back there. It's a 2007, I believe. It's all-wheel drive. But me personally, I have two cars. One is the Corvette, and the other is this Mustang. Now, this Mustang, I do not care about going fast. I just want to get somewhere reliably with a little bit of speed, with, like, you know, it's enough to keep up with modern traffic, and I want to do it in style. I do not like boring cars. I just can't stand them. They're just, if I'm going somewhere, I need to drive something that at least looks cool, has a little bit of style. American heritage is always nice, and I like to be able to modify my vehicles. And so the Mustang, a V6 Mustang in particular, fits that bill. It's not expensive. It doesn't take premium gas. It's a regular vehicle. It just looks really cool. Now, if you are like me and you own a sports car or a car that takes a lot of gas or something that you can only really drive in the winter, I mean in the summer, I drive my car in the winter. But if you have something like this, a high horsepower car, and you just need a daily driver that just looks kind of cool, a V6 Mustang, is like up there. Like, this is one of my best decisions ever. I love this car every single day. When I'm not driving this car, I'm driving this, and no regrets. You know, it's awesome. It's comfortable. It sits high enough off the ground so you don't have to worry about scraping anywhere. It comes with really great tires on there. Like I mentioned, the modifications are awesome, and I still look cool. I mean, and these cars are cheap too. They're so cheap. I mean, before the pandemic, you could have got one of these with like 60,000 miles on them for like 14 grand. Nowadays with the pandemic, it's a little bit higher, but these cars are not expensive. They're very reliable. The 3.7 liter engine is just amazing, and it can take to boost if you want to do something like that. Like I mentioned, you can always get parts from the GT350, the Mustang GT, GT500, bumpers, all sorts of stuff. This car is great, but if you're just trying to get from point A to point B, this car is amazing, and you'll look cool doing it too. Okay, so with most of my good points on why you should buy this car, the next question will be who should stay away from this car? And I'll tell you just who. People who are, maybe you want a little bit of speed, but you don't have two vehicles. Maybe you are one of those V8 diehards, and you just say, hey, if I have to have a Mustang with a V8, nothing else, you know, fine, you know, go ahead and grab the V8. But this car, you should stay away from it if you want that V8 growl, if you want that sound, if you want that torque. I think if you're really into cars and you're a car enthusiast and you want to go fast, and maybe you're getting your first car, maybe your second car, and you know eventually that you want to go faster, maybe stay away from the V6. I was one of those people. I had a V6 Dodge Charger, and I had that car for 2 years until I decided I wanted the Scat Pack. And, you know, if you just I think you should save your money and get the car that you really want. If you don't want the V6, don't buy the V6. I think with that mindset, you're just gonna be setting yourself up for a lot of negative equity, a lot of money spent, wasted on the V6, because you know you get the V6, you want to spend a few bucks on power adders, and then you spend it on labor, and then you're like, you know what, this car's too fucking slow, and then you trade up anyway. It's just a whole mess. If you want a V8, get the V8. If you want the Coyote, get the Coyote. This car is not for people that and if you care about what people think about you, do not buy this car. This car is not for the weak of heart. Now, my car looks cool. My Mustang is wrapped. It's got wheels on there. It's got, you know, it looks clean, and it doesn't have a dumb exhaust on it, and it doesn't look right. So it looks clean. And plus, I've got this car anyway, so it doesn't matter. I have a V8. But if you're one of those people that get really sensitive and get really butthurt about what people on the internet have to say about you, you may want to stay away from this car. Personally, I don't think you should let anyone else, especially on the internet, dictate how you spend your money. But if you're one of those people, you should probably stay away from the car. But yeah, I just wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about why I bought my Mustang and who I think this car is for. Just to recap, for me, this V6 Mustang is like the perfect companion to my Chevrolet Corvette here in Illinois. And we get really brutal winters, and we get really nice springs and falls and summers. And switching between this car and this car is just awesome. No matter what time of the year, I have a nice car to drive that I really like that looks really clean. I can take pictures of for my Instagram and everything. I love both of these cars equally. The V6 Mustang, my heart belongs to this car so much. But anyway, with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you have any questions or concerns, feel free to hit me up on Instagram or here in the YouTube comment section. And like I always say, stay positive.
Go ahead and be a little positive. I rehearse my songs every day, it's so repetitive. I don't battle rap, but I ain't gon' lie, I'm competitive. I am the competition, I follow my intuition. Back then, all I did was wishing, that time is really ticking. I saw that sack, you know a nigga got to run it. I am the king, and your bitch kingdom coming.